Hey there, and welcome to the Cyber Resilience Brief, a SafeBreach podcast, the podcast that's all about helping you build real-world cyber resilience. I'm Tova Dvorin, and every episode we unpack what's working, what's evolving, and what you can actually do to stay one step ahead of attackers. On today's episode, we will be speaking to SafeBreach's senior sales engineer, Adrian Culley, who is also our primary contact in the EU, about yet another wrinkle in the Iranian hacking episode. We will be speaking about the Iranian group Emennet Pasargad, what ripple effect they have had on not only cybersecurity but global politics. And we will be peeling back the layers of who this nation-state group is, what government departments are involved, and what we need to do to stop them. Adrian, how are you today?
Good morning, Tova. I'm very well. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice, and thank you for that lovely introduction.
Thank you.
We're going to chat a little bit about Emennet Pasargad. They were subject to a private industry notification by the FBI 2.5 years ago, PIN 2022-126001. But I want to peel back the layers and let's do an autopsy on Emennet Pasargad. Sounds like strange words. What do they mean? The Pasargad is an ancient Persian city about 60 miles north of Shiraz in Iran, actually where the tomb of Cyrus the Great, a very prominent king about 3,000 years ago-ish. Emennet, which is the pattern that we see with this group, is actually slightly nonsense. It's a spin-on net in .NET internet, and we think, although it's only a hypothesis, that it's basically an alliteration of M for Mike, N for November, net, Emennet, and it's a reference to an ancient city. Who actually are these people? Well, they're not as clever as they think they are. They do have a preponderance for using fake company names. Unfortunately for them, we've revealed a number of them. Behind them is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Cyber Electronic Command, the IRGC CEC. They use a number of other names, including Sefer Ayandasazan, which is, again, a bit of a mouthful, referred to as ASA for short. They're also known by various other threat intelligence firms as Cotton Sandstorm, Marnham Bridge, Haywire Kitten. This is a very advanced hacking group. Sefer Ayandasazan is, again, a fake company name, albeit the company exists and is registered. They specialize in using intelligence fronts, shell companies, to register things like domains and services, which are then abused. Ayandasazan is very interesting. It means builders of the future in Persian, for those of you who are not Persian speakers. There may be one or two of you. The names are generally very arrogant, but behind them, we're able to see exactly who they are. And in fact, the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Cyber Electronic Command, is a sanctioned entity in the West. We know who their senior officers are. We know a huge amount about them. We know a huge amount about their indicators of compromise, their tactics, techniques, and procedures. And we can go all the way from this background intelligence as to who are these nasty people to actually simulating them, emulating them. We'll chat very briefly in a moment about what those two things actually are. They're not the same, or they are very closely connected, and how we can stop them. The officers of this unit are wanted internationally. We know exactly who they are. They're not a mystery. They pretty much can't leave Iran to the west, other than to other taboo countries. If they come to the west, they'll be arrested instantly. And they're very, very nasty. These are people that are responsible for sending phishing emails and hoax emails to the families of hostages, some of whom are still being held from the 7th of October attacks in Israel. Nasty, nasty people. However, they're not as clever as they think they are, and we know a lot about them. So, I mentioned simulation and emulation. Simulation, to repeat the analogy, is the general gym. If you think about the movie Rocky and boxing, simulation is generic cybersecurity activity, just like the analogy is Rocky in the movie having a trainer, a coach, a punch bag, a skip rope, weights, a boxing ring, running up and down the steps, round the streets, training to get your general level of fitness up. What does that mean in real terms for cybersecurity? Well, it means making sure that your cybersecurity posture overall is as good as it can be, and looking at every element of your data estate, of your physical cyber estate. So, network, endpoint, cloud. We want visibility of everything. We want to be validating everything, and we want to be checking the security controls for everything. Now back to Emennet Pasargad, like many other hacking groups, they're very keen on phishing. So what can we do about that? Well, we've mentioned simulation, which is generic. Emulation, which is a subset of simulation, is where we emulate the actual attack techniques of a specific threat actor. And we know a massive amount about the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Cyber Electronic Command, the Emennet Pasargad front, and we know enough that we've actually got attack scenarios that you can run to emulate their activity, but safely. We run the attack in a way that it's subtly neutered, so it's as close to the actual attack, but without damaging yourself. And it boils down to hack yourself before the Iranian government hacks you, and they're very, very active at the moment. So I'd strongly recommend, we'll be having a continuing series around this. We have a rich panoply of these playbooks, but I strongly recommend that you use and emulate the techniques of these threat actors. Today we're talking about Emennet Pasargad, to see what would happen if they attacked your business, what are the gaps, and how can you remediate them. So first and foremost, as I mentioned, they like phishing. What do we do about that? Well, we're not doing phishing training of individuals. There's a paradox with anti-phishing training, which is if you've got anti-phishing solutions, they're great, but by very definition, if that phishing solution is getting to your employees' mailboxes, so can real phishing. And that's very valid that you're letting them training them whether they can recognize a malicious email and not click on the links in it and to report it. That's all perfectly valid. But there's a missing part of the picture there, which is if that email is successfully getting to their mailboxes, so can real phishing emails. And it means implicitly, if your anti-phishing training package is working, somewhere your security controls are failing. And this is exploited by hacking groups such as Emennet Pasargad. What do we do as SafeBreach? We simulate and emulate their phishing activity at the packet and bit level to test and validate your security controls to let you know, are they allowing phishing emails to pass, or are they picking up on them? Are they allowing malware to pass? Generally, the pattern here across the cyber kill chain is phishing, malware transfer, email attachments, command and control communication, malicious domain resolution. Again, remember I mentioned at the start that Emennet Pasargad is one of the number of front companies, as is ASA, that are used to register real assets in the cyber world and then abuse them. Then at the host level, we get malware drop, malware preparation and pre-execution, lateral movement around the network. They will then send, what's the compromised accounts, they'll use genuine accounts to send phishing emails, which is super difficult to pick up on, particularly if they're lucky enough to find a non-suspended but abandoned mailbox. The good news is we have a very nice scenario which covers all of this activity and allows you to very quickly and easily stage an exercise as if it's Emennet Pasargad attacking you, but without Emennet Pasargad actually attacking you. What we then get from this, we refer to it as the drift. We're monitoring this against your cybersecurity posture. Think of us as a digital canary in the coal mine. I know it's a hobby horse of mine, but we're checking all of your security controls. First and foremost, we're validating that the security control hasn't been bypassed or disabled. Credible hackers, literally their 101 step is to disable security controls. Ongoing question to ask about all of your security mechanisms is, what anti-tamper mechanisms do you have? How do you detect if they've been disabled? Our partners, our customers, use our platform to do exactly that. The security control itself may have anti-tamper mechanisms, but here's the paradox. That anti-tamper mechanism won't work if the control's being disabled, defeated, removed. What we're doing is checking that it's working in the first place. Then we're checking how it's working. We're validating its operation. All good. If it works successfully, great. We're actually proving that these security controls are valid and functioning. If it doesn't work, we're actually highlighting from integrations with the security controls exactly how it doesn't work. It may do part of its job. It might see some malicious activity and log it, but then allow it to continue. Where does that fit with our risk appetite, with our risk mitigation? with the principles of the company, with the CISO's vision, with the CEO's vision of what risk is acceptable to the business, what risk isn't acceptable. How do we then mitigate these risks? We drive all the way through to, having seen how the controls didn't function, to actual coded, AI-generated remediation steps to close these gaps. What we then do is repeat this attack scenario, having applied the remediation, to validate, okay, we think we've plugged those gaps and we've now target hardened against this attack. Let's repeat the attack to see if the controls are now stopping that attack. And this is an ongoing activity. It's why legislation around the world, such as the Digital Operational Resilience Act, the Cyber Resilience Act, the Japanese Cyber Defense Act, are all requiring continuous activity. Continuous activity in control validation, in adversary exposure validation, because the adversaries are continuous. And we can reverse the adversary advantage. We do reverse the adversary advantage every day of the week for our partners. And we do defeat groups such as the Emennet Pasargad, which we established at the start of the call. We know exactly who they are. They're actually the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Cyber Electronic Command. We are better than they are. We can stop them in their tracks.
Well said. Well said.
If you'd like to know more about this, please get in touch with your whoever it is you deal with at SafeBreach, or you can get in touch with us via our website, and we'd love to chat to you more and in detail and assist you with increasing your resilience against these nasty people.
Thank you, Adrian. I want to add as well that if you want to speak to a person, if you don't know us already, you can also reach out to both of us via LinkedIn.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I know we've covered some things that we covered in previous podcasts briefly. There's a lot more to come here. We have a lot more tactics, techniques and procedures, and a lot more about the other threat hacking groups associated with the Iranian government.
Stay tuned. Thanks, Adrian. The Cyber Resilience Brief is a SafeBreach podcast. Executive produced by Tova Dvorin and Adrian Culley. Sound provided by Adobe Music. Editing done with Adobe Podcasts. Distribution and tracking provided by Podbean. If you enjoy the podcast and would like to learn more, please check us out at www.safebreach.com. SafeBreach.com. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.